It's so goofy. It's the best. You just giggle. All right. Phones are on this. Happy Thankful Thursday, everyone.
Hi, good morning.
Yay. We're here. Oh, what a life, huh? Let's see if we could get a little bit of music in the background, which we can't hear because we don't have our. We'll turn. Good. Morning, Rick. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Good morning, Teresa. Michelle. I love how Michelle has a fire flame in between her name. It's super cool, right? Matt Harold, thanks for joining us, brother. Good seeing you last week. Corral, good to see you again. Another beautiful sunny day in Chicago.
Hi.
Although it kind of has felt like fall a little bit lately.
It has. I thought that the other morning, too. My husband said the same thing.
Yeah. Not ready. Are we? You know, that's what's funny. It's like, are we ever ready for anything? Right? You know, I'm gonna have a kid once I have like $20K in the bank and I'm making X amount of money, right?
Right.
I'm gonna go try this new thing. Once I start doing this, it's like it's never a good time, so it's always a good time.
Exactly. Exactly. I've learned that myself too.
Yeah, there's Sabrina. How are you?
Hi, Sabrina.
All right, hopefully you're enjoying a little of that Trey Mortimer in the background. We got some chops jamming. He's actually, I met him at an event in Hoffman Estates, Illinois.
Oh.
He's a house DJ in Chicago, and he's actually playing North Coast Music Festival with some other big acts like Diplo and Millennium and Porter Robinson and Armin van Buren.
Cool.
So it's going to be a big blowout, and Trey is playing actually on Friday, September 2nd. So big house music guy. I'm actually going to a house music festival this weekend in Pilsen, Illinois. It's right outside of downtown Chicago, and it's at a park. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and you know, you never get enough house music here. So yeah, feeling good today.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it looks like it. I know you had a big party this weekend, right?
Yes.
Big golf outing.
We did. So we have a charity called Hearts for Hope, and we help the homeless. So we form these care packs, and they're filled with like little toiletries, a pair of socks, and a little note of encouragement that our volunteers write. Yeah. And we hand them out to the homeless in the Chicagoland area. So we have one big fundraiser a year, and it was last Saturday. So because of the generosity of our community, we raised $14,000 to fund these care packs.
That's amazing.
So
$14K.
Yes. So I'm so grateful again, and it's because of the community and great people coming together that we're able to do this. So as a team.
See what happens when you bring people together. You know what else happens when people brush their teeth? They can talk close to each other, and they both have shiny teeth, and we both smell good. Isn't that great? Clearly, we both showered this morning. I was just thinking that as I'm talking to you, I'm like, we're really close, and I'm like, we both smell really good. I'm like, this is great.
Did I?
Oh my gosh, what a life. Yeah, what a life. So once we start, I'll have you read that quote, okay?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cool. So we'll wait for a couple more people to get on. Thanks again for the music. And you all let us know if we don't sound loud enough. Of course, we can turn up the mic. As I like to say, we keep it stupid simple here. We just have one mic sitting here. We got the laptop. We've got the camera. And most importantly, we have our hearts. But even more important than that, we have you all on here, because that's the most important part of the community, right? It's like building each other up. I said that R word. Okay, I'm not saying that R word. I've been called out to say that. It's really good because I like when people give me feedback. Okay. So I said that R word. No more R word from me.
Okay.
It's funny. it's all about the community, and it's all about us showing up here and encouraging each other to live beyond ourselves, right?
100%.
We're not always going to do the best. I like to say we are always doing the best that we can. Sometimes our days are not so good, though. We're still doing the best we can, though, even if it's at this level. So just showing up here, chilling with us, learning, living, loving, and being a part of the community, that's what means so much for us. So.
I absolutely agree, Dave. And actually, I was just, one of my posts this week was just saying, you're not going to have big, huge wins every day, and that's okay. It's showing up every day, right? And it's consistency. So doing, you may not have big, huge wins, but you have little wins every day, and take time to pat yourself on the back and give yourself credit for it, because even the littlest wins, those all add up to big wins. And again, enjoy the journey. It's all about a journey, right?
Yeah, and with that journey, sometimes we want to land the plane. And like Carolyn said, the little wins and just landing the plane at times, small, basic habits every single day, or on a regular basis really, really do serve. So, yeah, I think it's time to get this going. We got Carolyn on here. We're super grateful for life. We're grateful to be alive. We both woke up this morning and said, what do we get to do today versus what do we have to do today?
Heck yeah.
And you know what? We're not all into that place. At the same time, we're going to encourage each other to slowly get there. And on that note, we're going to have Carolyn start off with the quote.
Okay. Imagine living life so carefully that there are no signs that you lived at all.
And we're all about playing big here.
Yeah.
So on that note, welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream, episode number 30. I know. The big three. Oh, remember when we all turned 30? Or a couple probably haven't turned 30 yet, too. So welcome to this episode number 30, where we encourage you to live a life of design versus accepting a life of neglect. And our special episode today is Carolyn Litton. She's the creator of the Vision Project. And we're going to dive deep today. It's going to be fun. And of course, you're going to love the connections. You're going to love the leadership, the collaboration, and the takeaways, and just the fun with purpose. Yes. What we like to do on the show here. So thank you again for joining us. And as I always like to ask in the beginning, if your week has not been epic so far, now is the opportunity. Now is the opportunity to take responsibility for your actions, to take responsibility for your energy, to take responsibility for how you're showing up, like Carolyn says, to your coworkers, to your clients, to your friends, to your family, to Team Human in general. Because sometimes when we're not feeling good, we get in that victim mode and we blame other things for us not having enough money, or not having the guy or the girl that we want, or not having the car, or not having the right job, when we really know that it's our responsibility. So once we take that responsibility, it gives us the opportunity to learn and to grow and to level up. So your week's not been epic so far. Now it's time. Let's start here. Let's move forward, and let's add some value to the world. So,
love it.
What's been going on this last week, huh?
Oh man. Well, I'm excited. Okay. So I
couldn't tell.
I'm excited around, as you know. So I recently had a chapter that was published in this Voices of Women book, which is a bunch of stories compiled by Kimberly Crow, who's amazing. She has had multiple TED Talks, and I was reading, actually all this week I was reading stories of the other women in this book. And man, if you are looking to get inspired or just want ideas, or like you said, Dave, how to up-level your life, read this book. I mean, it's so cool to see so many different stories, or hear so many different stories from women all across the world. So,
I like that. How did you get into the book, and how did you become a part of this?
It's kind of cool, Dave. So I actually, when I created the Vision Project, I ended up making a huge change in my career, because the vision project is so important to me and it came to my life so dramatically that I'm like, okay, I need to dedicate, like I'm dedicating my life to it, to getting the story out so I can help other people. Because if you don't get the message out, no one is about it, right? So I initially started with the intent of wanting to write a book. And then people came to me and were like, oh, maybe we should do YouTube, Carolyn, because it's faster. And you can kind of get your message out faster. So I tabled the whole book idea. So when you ask how did it come to me, well, in the Vision Project, we all in universe have the capability to manifest our best lives, right?
I believe we do.
So that is exactly what I did. This book is a total manifestation. I actually tabled the idea of a book and I'm like, okay, so we're going to do YouTube. We're going to do all this other stuff. And through God, through the universe, that opportunity, even though I wasn't actively working on it, came to me. So through people that I've met, divine intervention, I meet one person who leads to another person. And 2 people approached me about a speaking engagement through Kimberly Crow. And then after that, after I spoke, it was a opportunity to be a part of the book. So even though I wasn't actively seeking it out, it was on my vision board and it still happened anyways. Kind of cool.
It works.
It works.
Now, I want to say thank you to Marcello because Marcello's been joining us for the last couple months, but he said, I'm loving the music selection. And that made me think, oh shit, I didn't turn off the music. So he's like, I'm loving it. And I'm like, stop.
Oh,
right?
Sorry, Marcello.
Oh, but thanks for letting me know. And yeah, Mark, good to see you. And Kathy, good to see you too. Elena, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kathy.
And what I think is important that that Carolyn brought up is if anybody has anybody ever seen the movie The Secret?
Huge
right?
fan. Woo,
The Secret.
Yes.
Right? And we're all fans of The Secret. Now, from love and from community, I'm going to give The Secret a little bit of criticism because I believe The Secret gives you one half of the picture.
Okay.
And the one half of the picture is manifesting, vision board, thinking at a higher level, recognizing that you're already in the place before it happens.
Yes.
Right? Like you're recognizing all these things. You're connecting with the feeling.
That is huge.
And then I like to call that borrow from your future self. So what you're doing is you're acting, you're feeling, you're living like you're already there and making those decisions today like you are there. The challenge, I think, with the movie The Secret, and there's a challenge to everything, right? And I don't make movies, so I'm not dissing the movie, okay? The Secret's a great movie. It's got a lot of good things in there. What I'm saying is that the other half of it is landing the plane. It's getting shit done.
Yep.
So part of that is, yes, the mental, the connecting with the big vision, the really power versus force, that book by Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force. Write that one down. That's all about it. At the same time, putting a plan together to do things every day, the things that we don't want to do. Mm-hmm. It's actually the big vision that keeps us doing the things that we don't want to do during the day. At the same time, though, when Carolyn has a vision board and when Carolyn is manifesting things, she's also getting up every day and doing shit.
Up. Right.
We're not sitting around all day like umming and ohing.
And here's what I found that was super cool. And I agree with that 100%. Like, it's like knowing your future. Like, I am already that person and I know it's going to happen. And I have that with such conviction, but showing up every day also means like, you have to like center yourself and take care of yourself. Right. So, I mean, I created the Vision Project. So meditation's huge, walking, getting grounded. And because I've done the Vision Project so much and do all these things, I get inspired action, and that's the best. So it's every day, like it's that intuition that kicks in that I'm like, this is the next right thing that I need to do right now. So the book ended up happening. I wasn't actively working on the book, but I was actively working on a bunch of different things. And like whatever took priority, right? Whoever came into my life, I'm so excited how I met you. And look, we ended up forming a mastermind. Like, amazing. And it's like, you can't even plan for that if you wanted to, but I still show up every day.
Yeah. Good point. And Carolyn brought up about the morning practice. a little bit.
Huge.
And allowing yourself to be grounded, right? So when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that you do? I'm asking everybody, when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Throw that in the comments for sure. Gail, thanks for joining us from Barbados.
Woo.
How cool is that?
Awesome. Hi, Gail.
How'd you even hear this? I think LinkedIn is starting to put me out a little bit more, which is cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you for joining us, Gail. So my thought is getting grounded in the morning. But what do we all do when we wake up in the morning? Now, I know the night before, and this is just me, it's not right for everybody. What I do the night before is right before I go to sleep, I put my phone in airplane mode. So nothing can come through it. It's completely blocked off, right?
Yep.
And then when I wake up with the alarm on my phone, there's no emails, there's no text message, there's no anything, right?
Awesome.
So the R word. So what I'm doing is I'm grounding myself. I'm beginning the day with affirmations and meditation and Wim Hof breathing and going outside on the terrace and looking towards the sun. So my cells and everything begins that 16-hour cycle of being awake. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing in the morning to ground myself. So when it comes time to showing up for this live stream, when it comes time to making my prospecting calls, I think I made 21 yesterday and I made 31 the day before.
You go.
Right? Yeah, even in real estate, you got to make prospecting calls. Always be prospecting, right? So what I've recognized is it's those grounding things. And a lot of times it's what you eliminate. So what do we all do when we wake up in the morning? Sabrina says, hydrate. And you know what? Thanks for saying that, Sabrina, because you just reminded me that that's something I do too. I already have a 16-ounce water next to my bed. So when I wake up, I do drink that water, and I already have 16 of my 100 ounces that I drink a day. So thanks for saying that, Sabrina.
Yes, good point, Sabrina.
Very, very important. And then she says, then meditate and activate.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm a huge proponent for all of this, but like, how many people, Dave, just like wake up and the first thing they do is they check their text, they check their email, and they start the day on the defense. And it's like, oh my goodness, just how you start your morning changes everything about your day.
Game
right?
changer.
Game changer.
And I believe, this is just my opinion, it doesn't mean it's right. I believe that how you begin your day is your day. Great. And you will be in control, not in a controlling way. You will be in control throughout the day when you ground yourself in the morning. Yes. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when the shit goes down, you're not going to react. You're going to respond.
Yes.
It even sounds better. React doesn't sound, respond.
I like that, Dave. I like that a lot. That's a good new R word.
See? I love it. Thank you. Instead of being reactive, we'll be proactive. And we're being proactive by beginning our day grounded on our terms. Now, part of it is to our ego. Part of it is that we want a dopamine hit. We've all been there. It happens and it's okay. And that's why we talk about these things here, right? Yes. And the main point really though is to recognize that we're all doing the best that we can. And it's these little tiny habits. Like who knew 8 years ago when I woke up one day and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just stop drinking for a month. Who knew that it would be 8 years? I'd start eliminating all these distractions in my life. Then I'd start leveling up who I surround myself with. And then I'd quit my job that I didn't like, even though I was making a ton of money. And now I'm in this beautiful world where I'm attracting, I'm manifesting, and I'm also making 30 prospecting calls a day to get shit done, right? So like who
and you have the energy to do it, like because of how you started your day, Dave, and you're grounded and everything, you're going to go into those calls totally differently. The people on the other end are going to hear your energy. They're going to know you're recharged, versus someone who's like, watching the negativity of the news first thing, responding to the emails, coming in, rushed, like totally different vibe.
Yeah.
And through that, you're more successful.
I'm so glad that you brought up the news. This is great. This is great. So we're always giving constructive criticism. And when we're coming from a good place, I want people to criticize. I want people to tell me and share with me that maybe I'm playing small or maybe I said something that offended somebody. Just let me know. It's always good. I have this saying too. I would rather ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. And I totally live by that. I'm not saying it's right for everybody. I'm saying it works for me. You got to do you. You got to pick what's well for you. I remember my friend Dave Asprey. You all know who Dave Asprey is.
Oh, yeah.
He's Mr. Bulletproof.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now,
Game Changer. He wrote the book Game Changers.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
So this is my bulletproof coffee here, right? We've got the ghee. We've got the beautiful MCT oil.
Yes,
we have the cinnamon. And of course, the Kanye pepper. Because nothing's better than Kanye, okay? So we have the Kanye pepper in here. Now, the best part about it is Dave Asprey, I remember years and years and years ago, he said something very interesting. He said, it is impossible to live a high-performance life if you watch the news regularly, if at all. He said it's impossible. And when he said that, I had already gotten rid of my TVs. So I haven't had TV for maybe 6 years, right? Obviously, we can look at things online and spin out on YouTube and derp on TikTok all day. We could do that, obviously. Yeah. Point is, though, when he said that, that was like a game changer to me. I was thinking oh my gosh, it's so harsh to hear that. And it's really kind of a slap. And again, you could believe it or not. It's just something that I believe. Really, how can you live a life that's high performance when
you're dragged down by negativity? Because 95% of the news is negative.
And it's negative for a reason.
Right.
Because it's hitting that part of our brain so we can be in a fear and fight or flight mentality because they're selling ads. And again, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy theory. You be the judge of what you want to ingest. I choose not to ingest the news. And then,
I'm the same way.
It's kind of funny too, because people will say, well, how do you know what's going on in the world? How do you know what's actually happening? And I say, you know what? If it's important enough, it'll find me.
I agree.
It'll find me. If it's that important, I'll know about it.
Yep.
What am I really going to be able to do about something that's out of my control? And what good does it do for me to know that and for me to fill my head with that? Now, I don't have kids.
Me neither.
I'm not married.
I am, Rick.
Think of what happens, though, when you're ingesting. Everything that you ingest is going to come out.
Yes.
Right? Whether you're eating and you're going washroom later, or whether you're listening to something or you're around somebody, that's going to go in your mind and it's going to come out later.
Yes. And we were talking even earlier this week, Dave and I, you get what you focus on. So focus on what you want. So I choose to focus on how I can make a difference in the world, how I can impact lives. That's really, at least that's my focus every day. What can I do? How can I make things just even a little bit better? How can I positively impact even just one person? And that's where I put my focus. And then do you remember how you responded back to me? You're like, where the focus goes, the energy flows.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's so true.
Right. So anyways, just careful what you focus on, everyone.
Yeah. Super true. Super true. And in regards to this last week, I wanted to bring up that I went to a rock climbing gym.
Ooh, awesome.
Here in Arlington Heights, Illinois, where they actually had the Olympic time trials a couple weeks before. So this is cool. A legit, big, super cool place. And it felt good because I landed the plane. I learned the basics. I did some climbing. Well, before I finish this, I want to say Gail says she meditates in the morning.
Oh.
And then
that's time.
Mateo says, part of my new routine is using those Wim Hof breathing exercises you suggested in other streams, Dave. Yeah, Wim Hof breathing. I totally recommend that. It's super cool. Haral says, make breakfast. Love it. Rick says, totally agree. It's the little things. Sabrina says, I don't watch the news because I'm an introvert. Hashtag. Michelle Norton. We got to bring up this. Lollipop moments. So lollipop moments. Michelle's watching now going, is he going to get it right? So lollipop moments are those little special moments that happen throughout the day that you don't think are really big.
Okay.
They're actually, though, very impactful on others.
I do know that. Yes.
On others. And Michelle came up with the term lollipop moments. And I really, really glad that you put that up. Sabrina says, Michelle Norton's, what's that? Michelle, throw your definition of that in the comments while I'm talking about this. Thank you so much. Well, so I went rock climbing.
Yeah.
And I was on like the kid wall. Cool. And I had the cable pulling me up. So that was good too. And then I started going on some of the other walls and it was really hard. Now I've only been rock climbing once up in Devil's Lake, Wisconsin. And it was with somebody else. I had a spotter. I don't even know the terms. But what I liked about it was something new. It got me out of my comfort zone. And not only is rock climbing physical, it's also super mental. And that's what I liked about climbing on these walls, is that it calmed my brain. I'm very present at the moment as I'm going up.
You have to be, right?
You have to be. And besides that, it was a good vibe and good energy and good community to be around. It's funny, like everybody's very like natural looking in there, right? Thin, good shape. Most people are younger than me, like pretty much everywhere, or the places where I hang out with, most people are younger than me, right? That's how come I get to stay so
young.
It's so young, right? That's the secret. There is no secret. Just do it. Cool thing was, though, I landed the plane. I tried something new.
Yes.
I didn't have to go up and like crush these epic pieces or lanes that were more than beginner. I went on all the beginner stuff, and it was funny because I did try a couple harder levels.
Yeah.
I literally got up like one space, and that's all I could do, and I would get down.
But you did it.
And then
you did something scary. You got outside your comfort zone, and who cares if you got one spot?
Yeah.
You did it.
It was so funny, though. I was like a little kid. I would like get down, and I would like walk away like this. And I'd be like, oh, it was such a bummer. Like, I could only get up that high, and I would try it 3 or 4 times, and it was really fun. I really did enjoy it.
Awesome.
So that was something I did in the last week where I landed the plane.
Love it.
And part of landing the plane, Carolyn, tell me what you think about this, is I have this theory that my friend Owen shared with me, and it's about living 100 lives in 100 years versus living one life in 100 years. Or you can even say living like 20 lives in the next year. And what I mean by that is, if you look back at your last week, do you remember what you did? For the most part, do you even remember what you did? Probably not. At least I don't. I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm saying for me, most of it was kind of the same mundane stuff. Like, it wasn't really exciting. Same people, same driving route, same this. And do you want to look back on your deathbed and be like, boy, that's all I did? I didn't talk to that guy I wanted to talk to. I didn't talk to that girl I wanted to talk to. I didn't go rock climbing. I didn't go down the water slide at the pool. I didn't jump out of a plane without a parachute, trusting that I would sew one up before I went splat, which means when I quit my job, making a ton of money every month.
Golden handcuffs. But you broke free.
I broke free. So when I think about it, like, I want to live 100 lives in my 100 years. I don't want to live just one life. To me, that's default.
Yes.
That doesn't sound very cool. So going rock climbing, it doesn't mean I'm going to be this expert rock climber. It doesn't mean I'm even going to sign up and join. What it means is I'm going to go 1 or 2 more times. I'm going to bring friends, colleagues, part of my crew. I'm going to bring them because it's super cool to do, and just share it with the community and see if we like it. And if I do like it, then I'll join. And the cool thing about this place too is that also they play great music, which I like.
That always adds to it, the energy, right?
It adds a lot. And there's a big weight room there too. So there's other things to do besides just rock climb. It's almost like a whole fitness center. So I really, really like that one. And that's something that I did in this last week.
That is awesome. Like, fantastic. And to answer your question about the 100 lives, that is why I created the Vision Project. Because Dave, before the Vision Project,
I love when Carolyn does that.
Dave, I want to tell you, an audience, because before the Vision Project, I couldn't tell you, day after day after day after day looked the same. I didn't wake up excited to get out of the bed, like wondering what life has in store for me. And you're right. I didn't want to get to the end of my life, to my deathbed, and say, I didn't play big enough. So that is so important to me. So once I created the Vision Project and those rituals changed my life, I'm like, I need to share this with other people so they can do the same thing. Now, Dave, every day, I can't wait to know the next person I'm going to meet. And I'm doing things that I've never done before. I'm meeting new people. I'm getting outside my comfort zone. I'm speaking. I'm doing all these things because I decided to play big. But that's what was on my heart. And through the Vision Project, I found my passion and my purpose. And I know a lot of people think, well, yeah, that's, easy for you, but there really is a formula to it. And that's why I created it and want to share it with other people. So you can have your fullest life, true to yourself, and live like in alignment with your true spirit, and not just live the life you think you're supposed to live.
Or that others think you should live.
Correct.
My opinion, again, doesn't say it's right. We're not even living our own lives. The lives that we're living are what teachers, parents, coworkers, bosses put in our head as a kid. And then they weren't even living their own lives.
Right.
So when you think about it, whose life are we even living?
Right.
It's about time that we live our lives. It's about time we live our lives. It's about time we have more lollipop moments. They are the smallest things in our lives. Something like a smile, but a huge impact. Love that.
Yes.
And Sabrina calls it simple self-care. That's a good one too. I like that.
Yes. And it's about the self-care where I used to think like I never made time for that before the Vision Project because I'm like, I'm too busy working. I don't have time. But then when I realized when I put myself first and I took care of myself first, I was able to show up better for everybody else.
See?
So take that time and focus on you. And I promise that will translate. You will show up better for your family, your friends, your clients, everything. You need to focus on yourself first. Put the oxygen mask on first. That's what they tell you on the airplane.
That's what they tell you on the airplane. And speaking of taking care of yourself first, Carolyn, I noticed something. Do you do your own eyebrows?
I do.
Okay. I had to find that out because they're very well coiffed. I can see them very well right here. I'm like, she takes care of her eyebrows. That's important, ladies. Take care of those eyebrows, right? People would kill for these eyebrows. All right. Someone says, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Keep trying new things, learning new things, stepping outside your box just might be epic. Thank you,
yes,
Kathy. And love your rock climbing. Even if you park in a new spot, I do that often to spice up life in the simplest form.
Yeah.
Parking in a new spot. Think of how simple that is. I think we need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
And not defaulting to autopilot. Don't live life on autopilot.
I love that.
Right?
I love that. So let's talk more about being uncomfortable. Last week, I discussed a little bit about the August audit. Now, have we all been auditing our energy, who we surround ourselves with,
so important,
our social skills, what we're doing with throughout our day, our thoughts? Have we been auditing our thoughts? The way that I audit my thoughts, not right for everybody, the way that I audit my thoughts is if there's a bad thought that comes in my mind, which I recognize too, most of my thoughts, they're not even mine, and that's a whole nother show.
Whole nother topic.
Think about it though. What if you were to die right after that thought? Would you want that to be your last thought? And I go to that extreme when I have a thought that I don't necessarily like. And I think, what if I were just to die and that was my last thought? That didn't sound very cool. Not good, right?
That's a really great, I love that point.
Yeah.
And I tend to look at it. So if I have a negative thought and at first, instead of being like, oh, like beating yourself up, I'm recognizing that is this is something I don't want.
Hmm.
So what is something I do want? It's telling me something. If I'm feeling resistance and I don't like this, that means because there's something else that I do want, that my inner self, like that really does resonate with me. So instead of like looking at it as a negative thing, I try to just change the focus onto
Mm,
like how could I get what I want? Like how could I get the good thing?
yeah. And that's almost a sign. Carolyn brings up a great point. So it's like a test. Memento mori, Dave. I love that. I love that. So I'm going to have you translate that, LinkedIn user, because that's a very stoic saying. For anybody else that might know what that means, I love that. What Carolyn brought up was a really good point. When these things show up, they're tests, especially when
Mhm.
you're about to level something up in your life. I remember 2 weeks before I was leaving my previous career and I got my commission report and I knew it. I'm like, this is going to be my best month ever in my career, ever. And I'm looking at the numbers and I'm going, wow, maybe I shouldn't quit. Maybe I shouldn't walk away. And then I pivoted and I started thinking of my parents. I want to invest more time and share more time with them. I started thinking about my niece and nephew. I started thinking about building more crew and building more community. And I started to think about like every day that I wasn't showing up in alignment with Dave was a
Awesome.
detriment, not just to myself, a detriment to everybody else. So even though I was making more money than ever, oh, and I would have kept doing that, especially because the pandemic really boomed the last industry that I was in. So my industry grew because after the pandemic hit, I still decided to walk away. And that was a test. So there's all these little tests
Very
that come in.
admirable.
And remember that, like, we get these little tests to really see like how we're going to act, how we're going to respond, how we're going to react. And these tests are showing they're actually coming from the universe or God or whatever you believe in. It's all
Yes.
good. It's coming to say, are you ready for it?
Yes.
Are you ready for it?
Are you truly living your life or the life that someone else has for you? What are you doing? And that's when you said, Dave, no, this isn't fulfilling me anymore. Yes, money's great, but I'm not living the life I want to live. And you jumped anyways. You ripped out of those golden handcuffs, and
Yeah.
that's super admirable. And you are an inspiration to others. So
Thank you.
way to go.
I appreciate that.
For sure.
Yeah, and that was a big step for me because how was I to share ideas? How was I to challenge others to live beyond default when I was staying in default?
Right.
That's what I was doing. And I'm waking up now more often like, what's the next thing, right? About a month ago, I had my first public speaking engagement, which was great. And then this past weekend, I began working with my first coaching client. So, like, all these other things
Love
are
it.
coming in. And on top of it, real estate has just been amazing for me. It's been such a blessing. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Radka. Of course, thank you, Stephanie, for encouraging me to jump out of the plane. And I want to thank my parents also and others that have been on this journey with me in real estate that really have truly has been a blessing for me to connect with people and bringing them new homes and new opportunities. But beyond that, it's really having that dopamine.
Yeah.
I want to bring up, right? I think that's important. Like when we have that audit of what we're doing every single day, so often throughout the day, we want that dopamine hit because we want to feel good.
Yep.
And dopamine hit can come in a lot of different ways, although many of these ways, especially when they are instant gratification versus long-term happiness, the instant gratification usually isn't the best way for us to go.
Right.
So how do we get dopamine hits? Well, it could be on social media. It could be eating. It could be buying something on Amazon and getting it that day or the next day. It could be a lot of things. Whereas I truly believe, this is just my thought, I believe that the dopamine hit and feeling good throughout the day comes from two ways. Carolyn brought it up. Number one is trusting the process and falling in love with the process.
Yes.
Do you think I want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day? You think I want to go home at 8 or 8:30 at night when people are out having fun and, oh, Dave's going to bed? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bed. Like, you really think I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. I want to be out with everybody and have fun. At the same time, I know it serves me better to go to bed and wake up at 5 a.m. I'm loving and embracing the process. You really think I want to make 30 prospecting calls, calling people at their home, asking them if they want to buy or sell real estate? You really think I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. What I do want to do, though, is I want to build the vision. I want to build a community. I want to challenge others and be there for them in the real estate world or in the coaching world or in the speaking world. I want to be there for them. I don't really want to do that legwork.
Okay.
But it's connecting with that and recognizing that, to keep that dopamine hit going, I love the process. Even if I don't love it, I make myself love it. Just show up and
you like the results that you get. That makes you feel good and wants you to keep on the momentum, right?
Keep on the momentum. You'll see a little bit of that. And the other thing is, I recognize that when you're truly alignment with yourself, when you're truly aligned with your essence, when you're truly aligned with universal intelligence or God or whatever your higher power is, that's where the dopamine is coming from. You're getting a constant hit.
Yes.
You're getting that constant flow throughout your body, as opposed to always having highs and lows, which we still do have.
Yes.
We're not having to go artificially and get that high and then come back down, because we're continuously getting. And you can see people like that too. When you look into their eyes, sometimes it might look like a glaze, when really it's not a glaze. They're in a flow state. They're not really pinging off of everything that's going on around them. They have their frame. They have their groundedness, and they're on their purpose. And you talk with these people, right? Like, I'll be around, like when we're in our mastermind,
right,
or in my other mastermind group. Let's say somebody from the outside, or we're in a group of people, and they start talking about gossiping, maybe about somebody. Like, we'll kind of just look around and be like, huh?
Yeah.
I'm talking about funnels. I'm talking about like building a new business. Right. I'm talking about like, how do we collaborate and prepare throughout the roaring 20s, where there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 new industries that are going to come up in the next 10 years that there's not even a name for yet. Like, how are we going to prepare for that? How are we going to prepare to serve Team Human? I don't want to talk about who got married to who and who didn't do this and who's slinging mud at this. Like, I'm thinking, again, building businesses. I'm thinking about building love. I'm thinking about co-creating with others.
And think about it, Dave. You can get your dopamine fix that way, through meditation. You can get it from going on an amazing walk and just being grateful for nature, for all the blessings we have in our lives. That's a dopamine hit. Masterminding, collaborating with great people. There are other ways to get that fix that serve us and serve humanity instead of the other way. And I was just looking, Teresa said, don't forget to thank yourself for being open to receiving new ideas. That is awesome.
Beautiful, Teresa. Thanks for saying that. That is so important. Being open to receiving new ideas. That's a game changer.
Game changer.
Part of that is eliminating distractions.
Yes.
Part of that is the August audit of where your time is going.
Yes.
Where are you spending your time? 168 hours every week. We all have the same amount of time. And I don't want to hear that we don't have enough time to do stuff.
Nope. We have the same amount of time as Elon Musk and all the other great influencers out there.
Plenty of time.
They make it happen, right?
Sadhguru traveled on his motorcycle to save soil throughout Europe and the world to talk about his cause. He traveled on his motorcycle for, 3,000 miles or whatever it was. Like, and he's probably 60 or 70. Like, who knows how old the guy is? The point is, like, we all have the same amount of time, and
what you do with it.
It's what you do with it. Yeah. So thank you for saying that. Don't forget to thank yourself to being open to receiving new ideas. And remember, you're going to die. Yes. Memento mori. Remember, you're going to die. Eckhart Tolle. Love Eckhart Tolle. Yes. Does anybody know who he is? What is it? A New Earth?
Power of Now.
Power of Now and A New Earth. 2 books by Eckhart Tolle. You want to talk about being present. You want to talk about dying every day. Like, that's such a powerful concept to like die every day and recognize that not only you're going to die later, but doing something that kind of takes you over the edge where you get nervous, right? On a daily basis, and just being humble and recognizing that at the end and in the beginning, like, we're not really that important. Yes, we can be very impactful. Yes, we can come together in each other's lives and use the power together to grow and inspire and really bring love and joy and success, right? Success is a feeling.
Yes.
It's not a fast car. It's not a hot chick. It is a feeling is what success is.
Yes. Whatever it means to you, you know, health is success. It's not, I feel like people think it's always financial and career driven.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. But like, what's more important? Health, family, love, community, impact. What is success? It's a feeling, and it's what's most important to you.
Yeah.
How do you want to thrive?
Yes.
Right.
I love that. And I like what Nick said. Dopamine sure is a catalyst for good habits and a productive life. Thank you, Nick.
Love
It's
that.
good to see you yesterday too. Now, I want to share something that Carolyn said here that's super important. So success doesn't necessarily mean finance. It means health. It means it means love, right?
Mm-hmm.
It means looking at yourself in the mirror. It means being comfortable in your own shoes. Yeah. Now, here's the challenge. That there's always a challenge, right? Remember that first couple weeks getting into personal development? Oh, this is fun. This is going to be cool. And then a few weeks into it, you're like, this kind of sucks. Like, there's a lot that we got to do. It was more fun the other way. It's not necessarily fun, okay? It's long-term happiness, what we're doing.
Yeah, I think where it turns out not to be fun is if you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much I have to do. It's like, hold on, like, let that go. Like, what's one thing, right? And then it's like, okay, I could do this. I can do this one thing. I could do this. I can do that. I can do that. And when you don't try to like take it all in and then like, oh, I'm not succeeding, don't worry about that. Yeah. Right? It makes it a little bit easier to swallow.
I love that. I love that. So we were talking about money too. And I want to bring up this term that I have thought about over the last couple of years, and it's spiritual bondage. And part of spiritual bondage, this is just my opinion, is that we want success or we feel successful because we feel good throughout the day and we're very spiritual and we're very grounded. And at the same time, sometimes you'll hear people saying, oh, so many people that have money aren't happy, so I don't need to go for that. So many people that are in shape, they're not really happy. They're just physically attractive, so I don't need to go for that. And I'm going to challenge and call that spiritual bondage. And what I mean by that is I think we can have most of that.
Yes.
I would rather make the money. Mm-hmm. I would rather be in shape. Mm-hmm. I would rather be surrounded with epic people. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather build businesses and build communities and then decide afterwards if I'm happy or not.
If I can comment on that. So in terms of the money, right? So I have a very abundance mindset, and I believe you can be successful and make money in doing something that you love. Now, you may be doing it now. You may have to find a transition plan, but that is absolutely possible. And the more abundance you have, the more money you have, the more you can bless other people. You can give to charity. You can be generous with it. There's so much you can do with that, and it's liberating. So, knowing I have the ability, like I don't have to worry about, an expense that comes up or something related to healthcare. It's freeing having money. So there's nothing wrong with having money and having abundance. And you could do it by working smarter, not harder. It doesn't mean you need to make all the money by grinding every day. So that's that. And then regarding health, people are like, oh yeah, that just must stink to be healthy. Well, health also, like if you eat horrible things every day, that maybe it feels great to eat the hot fudge sundae, and it's not to say you can never have it, but after a while your body doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Your body kind of craves healthy things. So it's also, that's a feeling too. Being healthy isn't miserable. Like it's just finding the healthy options that you like, that you enjoy, and they're out there.
Right? I like that.
So,
and a lot of times, as Carolyn was saying, we don't know what it's like until it's not there. So if you're in a relationship, if you're eating certain food, if you've been making the same amount of money for the last 10 years, if you've been driving the same car, I'm just saying more things. The point is, like, until that's gone, until that food is gone, until that relationship is gone, you were in a state. We are in a state, not you, all of us are in a state when we're in that situation, and we don't realize how bad or how detrimental or how much of an energy drain it really is until it's gone. And that's the funny thing is, like, when you start to eliminate, it doesn't happen instantly. After a week or two, that's it. It's like a couple weeks. When you eliminate one thing in your life, after a couple weeks, you start to recognize, like, hey, you know what? I was doing well. I was being defaulty, right? Being in that comfort zone, being in that, oh, everything's cool. I'm just going to keep coasting and life is great and it's grand. And let's go derp on TikTok some more for a half hour and scroll. When you start to take away these things, you start to feel differently and you start to recognize that, like, oh, you know what? Maybe that was an energy drain.
Yeah.
Maybe it really was bringing me down. Maybe it wasn't serving me. And maybe it wasn't serving that other person either, if it's a relationship. And we've all been there before. So that's part of auditing.
I was just going to say, that's like your August audit, right?
That's the August
Realizing,
audit.
Like taking the time and stopping. What am I doing? What am I not doing? Because sometimes, I mean, yes, it's great to add the things like meditation and all these things that serve you.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just as important to stop doing certain things, right?
I agree. Stopping doing certain things is the beginning, and it really, really helps. It just feels kind of bad those first few days when you stop something. But after a few days, it gets a little bit better, and you start to recognize, like, hey, this isn't so bad. So the August audit brings us into the September is the new January.
I love that.
Yeah.
You were telling me about that, Dave.
Oh, yeah. January, default,
Boom.
Starting things on January 1st or the first week of January. That's default. That's not how we're playing here. We're playing big, right? We're playing big. So to play big, we start to plan our 2023 in September. And that doesn't mean like every single step. You don't have to like audit every single thing and every single little step, right? That's August, and we want to get a little bit obsessive with it. At the same time, once September starts, we're like, okay, let's take the momentum of kids going back to school. Let's take the momentum of most people going back to work, whatever that even means now. And people aren't going on vacations. Let's use that momentum and begin to put in place and implement those habits like it's January.
Now you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of everybody else.
You're ahead of everybody else.
Start. Yeah.
That on-ramp is long. That on-ramp is long and it's slow, right? You see, I said the word. You see this. You see the sign. If trucks are going too quickly on the on-ramp, the sign shows this and it's going to tip over. So the point is, get these habits. We are going to get these habits into place. After auditing August, we're going to get the habits into place in September.
Love it.
Start doing them. And then what's great about that is when the holiday comes, right? drinking, drugging, watching TV, eating shitty food, derping. When all that, like all these little dopamine hits are coming at us to try to do like fun stuff. I'm not saying don't have fun. I'm saying just recognize what's out there. When all these things are coming at us, we already have these habits in place. We're already ahead of the game.
Yes.
And then we might have dropped some habits off and recognize that, you know what? It's not going to serve me. And I'm going to pivot now instead of waiting till February to pivot. So using, right, that power, using that momentum, life happening through you. So we have 3 levels of that.
Love that.
We have 3 levels. Like life happening to me could be kind of like, oh, woe is me.
Right.
Like kind of victim. And it's always like reacting to what's going on in the world. And then we have life happening for us, which is kind of defaulty. We're just going to go along with the status quo and, hey, it's pretty cool. Like, I got a cool place to live. I'm making cool money. I'm just going to keep it how it is, right? And then at the energy rich state, we have life happening through us. And that's every day, like Carolyn says, being grounded, starting something like the Vision Project, attracting and manifesting goodness in your life. And then it, like a fan, you're drawing it in, and then you radiate it through you. And I know that sounds a little bit woo-woo. You still got to make the calls. You still got to do the work. Part of it is then it becomes easy.
Yes.
Because now you're
it becomes easy. Yes. It doesn't feel like a strain anymore. And it's like, you have to experience that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the difference. What you just explained is the difference between like the victim mindset and the growth mindset, right? It's how you look at it. Really, the situation is the same. It is what it is. You can't control the situation. You can control what you do about it, right? And it's like, what's your mindset? Growth mindset or fixed mindset?
Spoken like a champ. Spoken like a champ, right? And I think about that too. It's so easy to blame things, right? The president. Oh, Bitcoin's down. Where'd all my money go? Oh, the housing market crashed. You know, be happy we have a home.
Yes.
Be happy we have water. Be happy. Let's maybe not say happy. Let's be
grateful.
Grateful
for what we do have. We can find gratitude in anything. And that is powerful.
That is truly powerful. And that's coming from a place of abundance.
Yes.
That's coming from a place of thriving. And that's recognizing that we do have a choice. And we also remember that at times we don't throw sprinkles on a shit show. Okay. That's super important. And we recognize that, like, when something bad or something that we don't like or something that hurts us, it's okay. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it. And it's going to hurt for a while.
Right.
I'd rather be human and hurt than not be human at all.
Yes.
I recently had a friend who was in my previous career, still a friend of mine, and he just died. And he was like 40, and he died of a heart attack. And he had work done on his heart before. He just died. 3 kids. I'm going to the wake this Saturday. And I know we always think about these things when somebody dies. And I get it. At the same time, really think about that. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to wake up the next day. Just starting off on that right foot or the left foot, whatever's correct for you. Just starting off on that right foot makes a huge difference. Of course, you could DM Carolyn Litton, Litton, through LinkedIn or through her YouTube channel with the Vision Project. You could DM me anytime. I am game to talk about real estate, public speaking, and of course, one-to-one coaching and just daily habits, right? Like, you could just be a friend, and we are friends already. You get what I'm saying? There's no agenda here, right? We're just showing up. We're doing our thing.
Helping each other, supporting each other.
And I got to say something about Carolyn. This is so funny. So Carolyn, we had met once at an event or something. And then we had met here at the real estate office. And we were talking about other areas in life and where we were growing and what our vision was and what we were building up, new businesses that we were building up. And Carolyn goes, Dave, I have this great idea. And what do you think if you, me, Alan, and Scott got together and we started our own mastermind group? What do you think? And how can you say no? It's like she came with this, and I have another mastermind group. I've run mastermind groups before, thanks to Radka, who's been part of mastermind group for so long and part of my life for so long. Thank you so much. And other people that have been in my life that have encouraged me and been part of my mastermind groups. Carolyn comes with this idea, so simple. It's right there. She came with that idea with some new people that we started surrounding ourselves with that are on the public speaking circuit.
We're all on the same journey, and we're right about the same stages, and we all have that growth mindset. And it's like, you have great ideas, Scott and Alan. We all have great ideas, but you bring us together, and then you get that mastermind, like Napoleon Hill says. And I mean, the sky's the limit with possibilities there. Right?
Unstoppable. It's amazing what's already come out of that.
Touring the U.S. next time, and maybe the world this time next year, right, Dave?
Yeah. In fact, it's funny. We said the first time that we met, one of the first things that we said was, you know what? 1 year from now, when we're meeting, it's going to be in Costa Rica. It's not going to be here at Westwood and Schaumburg.
Yeah. That was our first meeting. We're like, already we know 12 months from now, it's Costa Rica.
Yeah. And before we end, I'm going to challenge all of us. Right? This is a big live beyond default thing. I'm going to challenge all of us. You don't even know what good is. I don't even know what good is. Carolyn doesn't even know what good is. We haven't even gotten there. We've barely even tapped the surface.
Potential.
It's people are not becoming successful or happy by accident. There's always a few that do, and it usually doesn't last. Long-time happiness. Long-term success. They're not doing that by accident. They're doing it because they're living a life of design. They're doing it because they start a movement like the Vision Project. They come up with Live Beyond Default and encourage others to play big versus just living a life of neglect and being pushed around and pinged around by what society tells us to do.
And reacting.
So think about that for the rest of the weekend. You don't even know what good is. I don't even know what good is. We can only see so far, and it's getting past that. It's recognizing that our relationships, our minds, our body, our love, our money, there's so much more to it. And we haven't even tapped the surface yet.
And we have every ability and the power within us to keep going. So it's a journey. Keep reaching for it. We're every day, just be 1% better. Just keep going.
And on that note, thank you for joining us for this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's episode number 30. Hard to believe already. And got the weekend coming up. It's Thankful Thursday. For some people, it's Thirsty Thursday. I'm thirsty with the water, right? It's okay to go out and have a drink or two and relax. At the same time, be aware of what you're doing. That's all it is. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what you're doing. Recognize that most people are coming from a good place. And at the same time, we're all doing the best we can with what we have at this time, always. Carolyn, what do you want to say?
Gosh, you summed it up so greatly. Like I said, we all have the power to be the best version of ourselves, and gratitude is so important. Be grateful. Take time every day to be grateful, like you were saying on Thursday. And go forth and be awesome.
Go forth and be awesome. And until next time, make it a great week. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. You're welcome.
This was awesome.
Right? Super fun. There's that right word.
I just like, it's so funny. Like, it's the moment I met you, I'm like, I love your energy. And again, it's like you that really was kind of, and it's just, I'm so grateful. And I think I told you, like, I have been praying for a long time. I'm like, I want to reach that next level of people who have that big passion, who want to help people. And then, like, it was like literally like a week later that
we're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it together. Thank you. Thanks for being you.